we are going to present Miss Niraja Ganesh, who is Director Relationship at National Education Society of Karnataka, with the topic. To talk about few more about our today's speaker, she is currently working as the Director of Relationships at National Education Society of Karnataka, which has 17 institutions under it, National College being one of them, while she works closely with the industry veterans to build the Industry Academia Connect. Prior to this role, Ms. Niraja Ganesh's professional experience of 25 years has been in the information technology industry, managing large teams' delivery of IT projects, operational excellence, and customer delight for large banking captives. She was heading the Jobs for Her Foundation, which was being set up to bridge the gender gaps in the country. And she has lots of experiences in her 25 years of professional career. So today we're going to hear from her about her experiences and definitely the insightful thoughts for the young ladies and girls who are coming to the STEM education and career, choosing the career. So let's welcome Ms. Niraja Ganesh for the talk. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible well.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So while I bring up my presentation, let me understand if there are any women who've taken a career break and wish to restart their careers in our current audience. Maybe over chat. If there is anyone, they can say, yes, I am here. If not, of course, my session is still going to be for women on a career break wanting to restart their careers. But I will tune it also to ensure that the audience that we have for today also gets some takeaways. So is there anyone who has taken a career break in the current audience? Tasneem, can you just see and let me know? If not, let me get, yeah.
Ma'am, actually, maybe most of here who present here are students. So let's see. Few more are joining and will be joined. So I'll let you know by this time.
Sure. So I'm taking it that the majority of the audience today is students, and it's good for them to understand what happens in a woman's life, and as they progress in their career, and then they take a career break, and what is required to restart. And these tips are relevant to a man also who may, take a career break at some point in time for various reasons, maybe to support his own family, probably his wife. And regardless, for certain tips are universal. So I hope this presentation is going to engage the audience, and I'm happy to take questions which are more relevant to what's bothering you in your minds today. So I have titled this Ready, Steady, Go. While, the topic is actually for, let me just move ahead. As we already said, it is tips for women re-entering the workforce after a career break. But I decided to call it Ready, Steady, Go. What happens is when you're wanting to restart, you might think that there should be only go in our minds, right? Because I've taken the career break and I'm kind of satisfied for the period of the break that I took. There were certain reasons because of which I took the break, and now I'm ready to restart, which means that there shouldn't be anything else in my mind. I should just go. But I believe that there is still a lot of readying and steadying that needs to be done before the go line is, kind of crossed. And that's what I wish to talk about. And I want to draw an analogy between this and athletes who prepare for a race. Now, I don't know how many of you are runners, or have ever watched other runners, but there's a lot of preparation that they do, right? I mean, other than the people who kind of just do fancy running, because it's kind of quite fashionable today to be part of these huge marathons that happen for some cause or the other. So you just want to support the cause, so you may be, part of the crowd that is running. But otherwise, if you are a professional runner, professional athlete, there is a lot of preparation that happens before you run a race. And what's that kind of preparation? So first of all, you kind of decide what is the kind of race you're running. Is it a sprint? or is it a marathon? Right? And the preparation for both of these is going to be very, very different. As you know, that for a sprint, the focus has to be how do I improve my speed? Okay, that's all. But in a marathon, I don't think the speed matters that much, but the endurance matters, right? You have to be able to endure the entire stretch for whatever number of hours you're going to be running. So the preparation for these two are very, very different. Similarly, there are going to be dietary differences in the preparation based on the race that you're running, based on where you come from and what is the target that you want to achieve. There could be certain, different kinds of diet that you, consume so that you improve your muscle power or, endurance or whatever else that is. There is also a difference in the way people prepare if they are frequent runners, like it's kind of part of the game, versus if it's a first time runner, correct? So there will be definite differences. And similarly, if someone has taken a gap, right? So they've been running, but for whatever reason, they decided to take a, gap. If it's a woman who's been, an athlete and been running a lot of races, and then probably she kind of had a baby after marriage and took a pause for 3 months, 6 months, and wants to get back into the arena, just like, the career break, I think the preparation is going to be very much different. And I wanted to draw this analogy with a woman who's taken a career break and wants to restart to say that her preparation also has to be a little different to get back. Notwithstanding that statement, I would say that all of us need to prepare. Whether you are a student and you're going in for your first job, there is preparation required. Whether you are someone who's already in the career and looking to, rise in the careers, there's a different kind of preparation required. Or you just want to kind of stay put. Or you might be wanting a lateral shift from one company to another. Or you just want to stay put. This year, I have decided that I'm going to be in this role and just want to be in this role and keep going. Even then, there has to be some preparation for you to, perform that role well. So you cannot shy away from the preparation. But each of these preparations is very different. And when it comes to a woman on a career break, there is what is usually considered as a problem to restart. And if you can see, there are 5 lines, so you can guess that, there are 5 things that I'm going to talk about. And I've tried to bucket, all the other issues that may come around into one of these 5. And please feel free to stop me during the presentation if you have a question. I would request Tasleen to just, or someone else to keep a watch on the chat box. And, I'm happy to take the question then and there. Otherwise, I'll keep, speaking. So what are the problems for restarting a career? The first one, what usually happens is they are unaware of the current industry trends. Now, if I have been a woman who worked for 10 years and then for whatever reason I took a career break for 2 years, I usually don't keep in touch with the industry, right? Because I took a break for some personal challenges. Maybe, I had a baby and, hence I took a 6-month maternity and then, the baby was growing up. I was so very involved with the growth of the baby that I decided to focus my whole and soul on that. Or there was an ailing family member and I had to kind of give care for that person. And hence, I really could not keep in touch with what the industry is going through. And that the industry changes crazily, very, very aggressively, right? And the pandemic has definitely shown us that overnight industry changes can happen. Business models can change. Even if the pandemic had not happened, the rate at which the industry was changing was very, very high. And the future is going to be, certainly in that direction. So it is very important. And one of the problems for this woman who's taken a career break is she is unaware of the current industry. So she's still, living in the age of when she was working, which is 2 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever, she was before the career break. The second problem to restart is that she's very unsure of fitting in with the rest of the organization. What do I mean by that? So even if she had wanted to go back to the same company that she was working in before she took a break, she for sure knows that her peers would have gone ahead, right? In the 2 years of break, they would have probably taken a promotion. Or 5 years of break, they would have, kind of moved ahead. They might have become leads. So, she may have to now go and report to someone who was a peer. Or even worse, she may have to report into someone who was her junior, right? Then there is the age. So she'll find that the rest of her teammates are much, much younger than her. And if she is trying to go into another organization, she's not very sure whether she'll fit into the culture of the organization. So, when I quit from my corporate career of 25 years, as Tasneem was introducing me, the first thing that I did was I really I did not want to get back to the corporate. So, kind of trying to figure out what else that I could do, I went and consulted at a startup. Okay. This was a startup which had only 10 people in the company. So it was like a long room. And when you're in corporate, I worked at Capgemini. I'm not saying that each of us got dedicated cabins or anything like that, but there we had our cubicle. And of course, I'm talking about the days when we used to go to office. Today, of course, our cubicles are at home. But we used to have a dedicated cubicle, a desk, and a nice table and our phone at the desk. And, it was our private space. But in this startup, there was only one table, like a dining table kind of a thing. And all the 10 people sat around that table. They brought their laptops and they sat next to each other and they worked. And you can imagine what privacy you may have because the person, there is one person to your right and one person to your left. And these are all very young, I should not call them kids, but I'm tempted to say that. Very young, right? 20s, in their 20s. And I've finished 25 years of corporate career and joining here. And there would be loud music that would, they would play, each would, kind of share their preference for the day, and there would be music playing. And here I'm sitting, in the midst of all of this. How many people will be able to adjust into this, right? So those are some of the problems that we have when we want to restart or even change organizations. Will I fit in for the number of reasons? The other thing is, there is always this question, do I go back to the career stream that I was in, or should I change? Now, why would this, bother you? Maybe you were in a career stream which was heavily demanding. Maybe, usually people say, oh, engineering streams, tech streams, or, some sales streams are very, very demanding. And now you don't want to go back to such a demanding career. Or whatever, it could be any reason. You probably just finished your college and you got a job and you said, okay, fine, let me just keep going at it. And you're not very enthused and passionate and really wish to be in that kind of a job. So now is an opportunity because you've taken a career break to explore something else. So that's another. Should I not change? The fourth thing that I have observed of women who've taken a career break and want to restart it is that they're not very sure whether they are just looking for a job, work for a few hours every day. Because now you realize that whatever the reason was for which you took a break, maybe the child, it's now grown up and maybe you're able to send the child to a daycare or something like that, and you have 2-3 hours available to you. And you want to make use of it productively. So you feel that, let me pick up something. That could eventually lead to a long career. I'm not denying that. But there is a definite difference in the way you are going to approach a job, which is just to keep yourselves occupied for a couple of hours every day versus, a career. You're saying I have to get back and I have a long haul like a marathon and I'm going to, aspire to be so and so in so many years. Even this is very vague. People, the women don't realize. And when you don't realize this, what happens, you go and apply to all the wrong kinds of jobs. And then when, you get calls for an interviews, when you realize, no, I don't think I'm going to fit in here because I don't think I can spend 10 hours. Because in your mind, you are thinking that, okay, fine, it should be a cushy 5-hour job or something like that. And the last one, which is so very, connected to all women. I don't know about the men and the boys, but definitely to the girls and the women is the let go syndrome. We just can't let go. So if you've taken a career break and you were caring for the family and you were cooking the 3 meals in every day and you were, giving the medicines to whoever, you just can't let go that. And that's the first thing that you need to do when you have to restart, because you're not going to have the same number of hours available to you to look after people at home and to look after your home. And the letting go is so difficult for us. And of course, there are many other things. All of this, will I fit in? So you are not able to let go of the aspect that at some point in time, I was here. And now, since I took a break, I have to probably restart from somewhere else. You're not able to let go of that mindset of yours. Okay. So these are some of the problems that I have seen in women who've taken a career break and wanting to restart, and may also be true of, even if you're not, taken a break, some of these issues do creep in. When you want to make certain decisions of changing jobs or what is the kind of a role that I have to look at. Now, when you have problems, there will be solutions, right? And strangely, I quoted 5 problems, but I have only 3 lines here. So looks like, the solutions are much simpler or lesser in number to, kind of tackle with all those problems. So the first one I talk about is prioritize. And this is useful, meaningful to all of us, not only for women on a career break. Sounds very simple. Difficult thing for someone to do. If I were to ask the people on this, webinar today, can you name your top priority, priority number 1? I'm sure you're going to struggle. Because we want to do 3 things at the same time, right? And this is also my priority, that is also my priority. You name 3 things. And I say, no, you cannot have 3 things at priority number 1. Then it is not priority at all. Every priority should have only one thing attached to it. So out of the 3, are you able to qualify one, which is your priority number 1? So be very, very clear about prioritization. It is very important. And we'll talk a little more deeper about that. But that's one of the things that you need to do to solve the problems that we spoke about. The second thing is, of course, the prepare. People don't usually prepare and go in. Just a minute. Okay. Just a minute, I'm just getting you. Yeah, let's go ahead. I was saying that the preparation is extremely important for anybody, but more so for the woman on a career break, because I told you of all the other problems that she has, right? She's unsure of the industry trends. So what is the preparation that she has done to understand the current industry trends, right? And we will go deep dive into this also. And of course, the last thing is go chase. So that's the solution there. But most important things that we forget is the prioritization and the preparation. Let's look at what things that we need to prioritize. Family, because that's something that usually comes, and it is for everyone, right? When you have a career that you need to talk about and think about, there is also a family that one needs to think about. This is universal. But I am saying more so for the woman on a career break, because usually, she's taken the career break for family purposes. It's very rare that I have seen women who take a break because they want to enjoy. They want to go on a 6-month holiday, or they want to, do a course, and hence they took a year-long break. It's usually because, they are a trailing spouse. So the husband got transferred somewhere, and so they had to quit their job and go somewhere. Or, they had to look after the family or something of that sort. So prioritizing between the family and the career. So where does family fit into your? So I'm saying put 1, 2, 3 priority numbers. So is family priority number 1 or career priority number 2? But let me tell you one thing here. Just because you put career as priority number 1 and family as priority number 2, nothing, you're not a bad person. But you have to be very, very clear. All it enables you to take certain decisions based on this priority. And we'll see how that happens. Where is learning in your list of priorities? Is it 1, 2, 3, or is it 5, or is it 10? How important is money? So of course, all these days you were on a career break, and probably you were not, earning any money, but there probably was some saving that was supporting you, some investment which was supporting you, or there was somebody else who was providing for you. Now you want to restart your career. Is it because you really have a need to start earning? So is that priority number 1 in the list? Or is it like, no, I can still manage without the money, but it's good to kind of earn money because we're working when we want to. Where is me time in your list of priorities? Because what has happened during the break, and I assume and I hope that people who do take a career break, even if it's for other reasons, they do spend some time on themselves. They take an hour out or 2 hours to kind of every day, either read a book or, watch something on TV or do something, music practice or something, yoga practice, which is just for themselves. Now, when you get back to work also, and those of you who are looking to work, students, whoever it is, also need to dedicate some time for yourselves. The me time is important. So I'm not saying that, deprioritize it or it should not be there in the list of priorities. but it is definitely not going to be as much as you had it when you were on a break, is the assumption, right? So if you still want those 2 hours of your me time, which means I still have to do 2 hours of yoga every day or whatever that is, then you will have to put it in the right priority order. So it's like, okay, fine, I think career priority number one, and then family priority number two, priority number three is yoga. It will allow you to take decisions in terms of what kind of roles should I choose so that I get my 2 hours of me time, right? Of course, where is home? And home and family are different. Family is the people who you have to attend to, but home is, your own house. Maybe too finicky about keeping the house ultra clean. And all these days, because you were at home, you were able to, kind of do it yourselves, or, get a maid, and you used to supervise, and, every nook and corner used to look at it. But will you be able to give that time? So where is the home in the scheme of things, in your priority list? And this is a very funny thing, but I've still put it, social media. And I think most of us today are addicted to, some form of social media or the other. I think WhatsApp is, something that we continuously look at. If we don't, get a notification, we are worried, oh my God, what has happened, right? So there have been instances when people actually who restarted told me that they have not been able to be that productive in the job because they've not been able to get over that addiction of looking at Facebook every 2 hours or every 1 hour or every few minutes or Instagram, because that's what they were doing when they were on a break. So are you able to kind of push it down the list now because you want to focus on other things? So these are some of the things that you need to prioritize. Before I go on to prepare, let me also tell you how this helps you. It of course helps you in the preparation, but it also helps you in the decision making in terms of what is the kind of job that I can apply for. It will help you to solve the problem of work versus a career. So if you're going to put all of this and say that my family is still important to me, I have to continue to care for them, and hence, my job or career can come, say, at the fourth or the fifth position, then you will go and apply for a role like that. Let me give you a classic example from my own. I told you I went and, actually after my corporate stint, I went and worked at this startup, right? Now, the reason I went and, I did not want to go back to the corporate because I really wanted to explore a few other things. And my intent was not to consult at the startup, but the person who was running the startup was a good friend of mine. And she was trying to help me, do up my CV. And she was asking me, so what are you doing nowadays, Nirja, now that you're quit? And I told her that, see, I'm looking to collaborate with someone. Before I start off something on my own, I really wish to get some experience. So I wish to collaborate with someone. So she said, why not us, And I said, I don't know whether I'll be a fit in your organization with the kind of experience that I have, because theirs is a design, organization. They do design thinking and they, really work with product companies in terms of looking at innovations and things like that. And she said, of course, your experience is going to be valuable in some way or the other. Come, talk. Now, the challenge for her was, how does she pay me? Because someone who's coming from a 25 years of corporate career, she may not know my salary, but she still knows that it's going to be some big fat figure, right? And as a startup, she may not be able to kind of afford that. And she said, Nirja, I don't know, how to kind of pay you. And I told her, see, don't pay the Nirja Ganesh that you're hiring, but pay for the role that you're going to hire me into. So if it was not me, you would have hired somebody else and you would have been able to offer some kind of money to that person. You offer me the same money, I told her. And it was difficult for her to make that offer, but I accepted it. It was very, very small compared to what I was drawing prior. But I was able to take that decision because for me, money was not at the top priority. For me, learning was at a higher priority than money. And I knew the kind of learning that I am going to get working at this startup, because I didn't want to go back to corporates and I was thinking of starting on my own. So this was going to be an effort standing up, working, what are the challenges? So the amount of learning I was going to get that was humongous, and I had prioritized learning over money. So it was okay for me to kind of accept that job. So that's how prioritization helps you in terms of making your decisions, right? Now let's look at what preparation can we do once we have prioritized this. The first and foremost is to prepare your mind. For those of us who, and I told you, right, the let go syndrome. First of all, are we ready to restart? Now, what happens in most of the women who've taken a career break, if it's a planned career break, if it's unplanned, then, these things may not necessarily go this way. But if it's a planned career break, they have decided the minute my child is 1 year old, after the first birthday is celebrated, I'm going to restart. So that's something, a target they set on themselves the minute the child was born. So if the child was born on 1st Jan 2020, then 1st Jan 2021 is the date when they're going to start applying because they want a job. They want to restart. But is their mind all set and ready? They have never had that cooling off period, you call it, right? Because till 31st of December, now, of course, when she starts applying on 1st Jan, she's not going to get a job immediately. But supposing she gets to be very lucky and 2nd of Jan 2021, she has to start working. Now, can you imagine, till 31st of December, she was completely clued into the house, the family, and everything else. And suddenly now she has to move away and start working. Her mind is not ready. So the first thing in terms of the preparation is the readiness of the mind, that something is going to change completely for me from the day I get into a job. Is my mind ready? Am I willing to let go? Am I willing to kind of, run my household and take care of my family and the other things that I was doing so far in a different manner? What will be the difference is the second thing that she has to prepare. But first of all, the preparation has to be here, right? Second preparation is you prepare your family. More so in the current situation, because you're all working from home. Most of us will get to work from home for the next, I don't know how many months. Correct? So at least if you're stepping out of the house and going to the office, you are not there in the house for for 3 hours or 6 hours that you are away. You are not at home. People are not going to bother you. But now you're still at home and you're working. Correct? So you have to prepare your family to say, from 9 to 12, I'm at work. Do not disturb me. Exactly what I did, right? So somebody came into this room a few minutes ago, because of which I paused and I had to tell them that, I do not want disturbance. While I had prepared them, I had told them upfront, from 4:15 to 5:45, nobody comes into this room. But, it's kind of, and most of us don't have these elaborate, luxurious houses where each of us can go and sit off in a corner. So you might be sitting in the same room where somebody else might be there and working. But you have to be very clearly telling them, educating them that you cannot disturb me because I'm at work. And it's very, very hard. I'll tell you, it's very, very hard. So prior to the pandemic, when I used to sometimes work from home, 3 o'clock, people would expect that I get up and make chai for the people because it's chai time. It used to sometimes make me guilty also, because, people are getting up, going to the kitchen, and I'm sitting at home. Why don't I go and make the chai and give them? Right? And sometimes I have to kind of tell them, no, it's I'm in a meeting and you have to do that. If I was not there, what would you have done? You would have made your own chai, right? Because I was in the office. And the pandemic has only, spoiled us. Now what has happened, since I work from home, it's somewhere, in my head, it's when it is 1:30 and lunchtime, I am tempted to go and lay the table. If I was working at the office, somebody will put the table, plate, they'll put it in the plate, sit at the table, or go somewhere and, eat. But now, since I'm at home, that guilt drives me to go take some time off, lay the table. So all of this happens. So one, you prepare your mindset and you prepare your family's mindset that I am working. So do not disturb me for these number of hours. 3, prepare the support system. So who is your support system? Till now, you were caring for your child. Who's going to care for your child for those 3 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever kind of a job that you're going to take? Is it going to be somebody from within the family? Do you have a support system, your parents, your in-laws? Or do you have a live-in maid or somebody who will come? Or I don't know how daycares are working today. Or are you going to send the child to a daycare? Or if there was an ailing family member and you used to kind of be always, looking after the person, giving the person the medicine and all of that, who's going to do that? Right? Or the fantastic, support system that you need to, manage a kitchen, right? Till now you were cooking 3 meals a day. You wanted to give that really nutritious, healthy, and, variety of dishes, piping hot, at the 3 meal times. Now you won't be able to, right? If you've taken 3 hours of work, 9 to 12, maybe you can finish off the breakfast in the morning, but you can start your cooking only after 12. So your lunch may not be ready at 1 o'clock. So either you delay the lunch hours and say, hey, people, you'll get food only at 2. Or you have to envisage and, elicit support to say that, can somebody in the house chop the vegetables so that 12 o'clock when I finish my work, I will come and finish the cooking. Now, what if you have taken in 6 hours of work? So 9 to 3, you're busy. Then what happens to the lunch? So then you have to either prepare your breakfast and lunch before 9 o'clock, or you, make it the previous night, or you delegate. So where is that? If you're going to think that, I will run the show exactly the way, I was, and you're going to just kill yourself, right? To, be doing exactly everything that you were doing during the break, and now you want to continue like that. So then let go also comes here. And that is why in your list of priorities, I was saying, when I said family, by putting family a little down, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're just going to find ways to ensure the family is still taken care of. So either you will hire a cook, or you'll say, no, it's okay. I will do a lot of prep the previous night, or I'm going to envisage help and say, come on, you guys also have to help me. And only then things are going to move. That is why that prioritization is so is so needed, right? Work environment. Now, this means that you have a corner for yourself. You have, of course, a dedicated device, a laptop or a PC or whatever. You have internet and you have a backup for the internet. Okay, very important today. You have an ergonomically designed, chair, because you're going to be sitting long hours and working, and you don't want a neck ache and a back ache and, other health problems. So this is the work environment that you need to prepare. Now, this was definitely something that people were not prepared with, in the earlier days. And if they had to kind of start working from home, this was something that they had to invest on. Today, I think many of us have kind of transitioned into this. But if there are already, 2 kids who are studying, from home, and then there is the husband who is working from home, then you need a fourth system, and, find you're already, the internet traffic is already so crazy, and you also will draw out of it. All of these, problems are going to be there. I just this morning, or rather afternoon, I've just come out of a big stress. So my daughter's final semester exams were happening. She's in the first semester. And she chose to do it online. They had an option to go to college, but she chose to do it online. And that they had very clearly said that if anything goes wrong, she has to do a re-exam. They're not going to take any appeals. And 11:45 to 3 o'clock, she was locked up in the room because it's an AI-enabled system which is monitoring and tracking these students doing exams so that they don't cheat and stuff like that. I think you are aware of it better than me. So I didn't know what was happening in the room. And at 3 o'clock, she tells me that she wasn't able to upload her paper. So she had to handwrite and then scan it and then upload it, right? And she said that at that moment of upload, it just didn't go through. So it looks like there were 2 parts. She had, submitted 20 marks ka something or 30 marks ka, another 20 marks she wasn't able to submit. So she has an option to withdraw and, redo the exam, or live with the marks that she gets. Stressful, right? So I'm trying to talk to you in the language of students, and this is exactly what's going to happen when you start working. There might be something really, really critical, and hence you have to ensure you have those backups, and sometimes the backups could also fail. I mean, those are the worst case scenarios. But this is a preparation that you have to make, because otherwise you'll only be stressed about this. Oh my God, what happens if, today this doesn't work, correct? So for you to have a very seamless transition, all of this needs to be in place much before the 1st Jan 2021, before you start applying for the job. You can't bring it into place, the minute, you got the job. Okay? Skill. Of course, you have to reskill because you have been on a career break, and upskill and reskill, very, very important. And all of us, skilling is important for all us daily. Because things are changing so very often. So you have to continuously be skilling yourselves. That's also preparation that you need to do. You need to understand the industry trends. You definitely need to work on your CV, and you have to network. I remember Sally, talking about this. You have to work on your personal brand. But if you see, what have I put in the top? Usually, what we think that, if you have to restart, oh, get your CV ready, ensure that, you are applying to jobs. So your CV is there on job portals. You go to all the events where the job fairs and, other kind of networking events. This is what we speak about. But I'm telling you, I have purposely put mind family support system at the top. May not be in that particular order, but I'm saying that is the first preparation that is required. After that, everything else can work. Now, you may ask me the question, and I have another, big thing around preparation, which I'll tell you now. Where do I get the time to network? Where do I get the time to upskill? Because I already have such a packed day, right? So where do I, make those 3 hours available to upskill or, go attend events and network? And my question to you is, if you can't make time for that today, then how are you going to make time to go and work tomorrow? So in your preparation, if you thought that from 1st of January 2021, you have to be in a job, then at least 3 months prior to that, you should start behaving as if you are in a job. Which means if you are planning to do a 4-hour job, then from 1st October 2020, you should chalk out those 4 hours of the day and tell your family not to disturb you in those 4 hours. Put your support system in place so that whatever else you would have otherwise done in those 4 hours is taken care of. And then you suddenly get this time to, attend webinars, to upskill, do courses, start, attending events, network with people, invest on, your personal branding, rework on your CV and all of that. Now, it sounds very funny. You will say which family member is going to accept that I'm not started working, but still I'm telling them don't disturb me from 9 to 1. Right? I'm telling my husband, you chop the vegetables and help me with the kitchen, or I'm getting a cook. Who's going to accept it? It is going to be a tough one. But if you do not do this preparation, you never know what is going to work for you and not work for you. Correct? When you are doing this from 1st October 2020, you realize that, okay, reheating the food which was cooked the previous night is not a great thing. It's not working out. It's not, suiting me or not suiting somebody in the family member. So I have to change my strategy. Right? Or you have hired, some help and somehow, you're not very comfortable, confident with that help. So you have to find somebody else. Or a daycare that you're sending your child. The child has to get used to the daycare. Suddenly the child is not going to get used, go to the daycare and feel very happy about it. Correct? So you have to behave. And I have done that. I have done that when my daughter was 2. And we had decided to send her to this, whatever we sent, right? The Montessori. So my daughter is 19 now. So I'm talking many years ago. So the Montessori that you put the child into before, the child joins a formal school for nursery. So I knew that June she was going to start. And it's going to be 3 hours, 4 hours, I think 9 to 12, 3 hours of Montessori that she was going to go. Now, I was a working woman, and of course, my kitchen was being, looked after by my mother-in-law. She used to, make the meals and all of that. And being in an IT company in Bangalore, there were long commutes. So I used to, of course, leave by, 8:30, 8:45. So there was no time for me to spend in the kitchen. So the food would be ready, I would pack and I would leave. And Sriha, my daughter, was being looked after by, my mother-in-law. Now, if she had to start going to school, what are the things that we had to do? We had to ensure that she wakes up by 6:30. The child, when the child is 2 years old, is never going to have, a predictable, waking up time. And you are not going to bother also because she's at home and, there's someone to care for her. But now, that 6:30, she should wake up. She should be bathed, she should finish her potty and then she should come and sit and have a breakfast and be ready to go to that school at 8:30. And I knew that this was going to be a crazy affair on 1st of June. So in the months of May and June, I started behaving as if she is already going to school. So I used to wake her up at 6:30, give her a bath and, get her ready. And then I knew that nobody will have the time to sit and feed her breakfast. You know how kids are, right? They will want to see the cow and the moon and everything else. And, take about 45 minutes to 1 hour to, eat. And we don't have the luxury of time in the morning. Everyone is busy. So I said she has to learn to eat on her own. Okay, you will laugh your head off, a 2-year-old. But I said, no, she has to, because there is no time otherwise. No one has the time. So I started, putting a plate in front of her. I used to, if it was dosas or idlis, make small pieces of it, chapati, small pieces or whatever, and leave it on the plate and said, eat. What happened? Child will not eat. Child doesn't know that, it's kind of something that she has to do. She thought it was a game and she would pick all the pieces and strew it all around the room, and in the room was becoming more messy. It only gave me more work and nothing was going inside her. I used to get, scolded by all my family members. What are you up to? The child is not eating. What are you deriving out of it and all of that? But I said, no, I'm going to ensure that she's going to start eating at some point in time on her own before the school starts. So while it was extra work for me because I had to clean up that room afterwards, I knew the minute I'm gone to work, my mother-in-law will feed her. So it's not that she's going to go, starving because she's not eaten any of that breakfast. After about a week, 10 days, she realized nobody's playing this game of, throwing the food around. Some pieces went in, some pieces still came out, but there was progress. And by the time it was 1st of June, the child had learned to sit and eat on her own. And 1st of June was such a pleasant experience. There was no stress, just take her to school, right? So this is the kind of preparation you have to do prior to restarting, preparing the family. They have to see that you're working or you're doing something, hence you will not be available to them for the 3 hours. So how do they become independent? How do they manage when you're not there? Correct? And then you can fine tune some of the things. Or maybe there will be a realization that you can't still restart. Maybe it's going to take you another 3 months. That 1st of January 2021 is still not the right time for you to restart because your family still needs you or your child still needs you or you're not still able to let go of certain things, which is perfectly fine. Because what we want to avoid is the minute you restart and you have, all of the stress on you, you can't let go, you have to do stuff at home, people are demanding things of you. At the same time, your company is going to demand, expectations are there. The stress is going to pile on, and the first thing that will happen is you will decide to take a second break because you're not able to manage this, and we don't want that to happen. Hence, this period of cooling off from your break and preparing for getting into the career is so important. Now the question comes, of course. The mind, the family, the work environment and all of that is something that you have to, manage. Nobody can help you. But the rest of the things, where do I find information on skilling, industry trends, networking events? How do I create my personal brand? There are a lot of online portals today. Plenty are available, especially for women on a career break. Jobs for Her, which is where I was working before I, did my college job, is an online portal that helps women on a career break restart their careers. Now, what happens is that these women will go and they think it's like any other job portal, like a Naukri or IIM jobs or whatever else you have. They will go and put their CV on that portal. And then they will call me after some days and say, this portal doesn't work. Why? Because I put my CV and nobody is giving me a call. But if you explore the portal, whichever portal, and I know Jobs for because I very closely work there, but any other portal, it provides you immense number of resources beyond just uploading your CV and looking at the job opportunities. So it will have opportunities for you to network. It will have opportunities for you to, get mentoring. It will have opportunities for you to attend events, right? And so on Jobs for Her, there is a vertical for reskilling, there's a vertical for mentoring, there's a vertical called events, there's a vertical called groups, and they will not use any of this. There is a vertical called blogs, which are stories of women who have taken a career break and restarted their career. You can't just apply for a job and assume somebody will call you. You have to make that effort by attending all of this, making use of all these resources. And today everything is available on the fingertip, literally on your keyboard, right? You can do everything online. So find mentoring portals, find mentors, start attending as many events that you can, like today's. And the thing about events is don't go for events that are very, very specific to the kind of career that you want. You have to go to as many diverse events as you want to. and you can. So you might be inclined towards a technology role, but go and attend an entrepreneurship, event. Go and attend, a book reading, kind of an event. Go and attend a parenting event. This is for women, on a career break, even otherwise, because the amount of learning you get from attending these diverse events is unimaginable. And you can never, sit and read a book and get that kind of learning. And in today's world, when things are changing so drastically, you need to know as much as you can about, the outside world. So as many diverse events that you can, start attending, and then network. So networking itself is a topic by itself. And, Aishwarya knows that, I can spend a good 90 minutes on that. But networking is all about getting to know unknown people, connecting with them on LinkedIn in today's online world. Of course, you should, have also physical, contacts and meet up people, but nurturing those connections, because that's how you are going to get your, next set of opportunities. While you can apply for jobs, and there is still some percentage of jobs that get fulfilled through the application process, a majority of them get fulfilled through networks. So that is also very, very important. And there is plenty of online content available today for you to study and learn from. And the simplest and the easiest is all our social media. So while I said, where do you prioritize your social media? Social media, if used to the right way, which is for learning, can still, stay at the top of your, priority list. So for example, if you want a job in a particular company, start following that company on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Okay. If you want, if you have certain role models and you want to kind of, be like them, or kind of shine like them, start following them on social media. What happens is, from the next day, your LinkedIn feed starts showing you updates from that company, updates from this person who's a role model. And these updates will also tell you how the industry is changing, or it will tell you where is this organization focused towards. Automatically, you're building in learning, so that tomorrow, if ever there is a job opportunity and you're applying to that company, you know the past of the company, you know their vision, you know the strategy, you know the things that they are getting into, you know their business models. So very important that you start following people and organizations who you really want to be like, work with, or work at, and the learning will be automatic from these social media feeds. And there's a lot of online content. There are blogs, there are videos, there are, snippets. And today, bite-sized learning is gaining more momentum. There's more than enough of that. Make use of all of that. And that's how you prepare. And once you've prepared, what do? Go play a match? Go chase all out to get that dream job. And you will get it. And you will be much better prepared, and you will be, it's not only about getting the job, you will be able to deliver on the job much better. Okay. But that is why I thought, I must stress on the get, set, go, or the ready, steady, go. Those two are very, very important. And before I stop my talk, I'm going to say that now is the best time. And when I say now, in general, I say that the time is now. Whatever you want to do, not in the now, not in the pandemic. Anytime you decide, when do I do this? The answer to that should be now, because there is no tomorrow for it. The tomorrow will never come. So you want to do something, the time is now. You start it right now. But in this case, in this specific, slide, I'm saying the current pandemic time is the best time for women who are on a career break to restart, or in general for all of us. Why and how, right? To start with, you can start volunteering. Like, I know that there are so many volunteers, that are making this happen today. The amount of learning that, and the exposure and the networking and the branding you're going to get because of that is immense, right? So the other myth that women have, or generally others have, is when I start working, I need to earn. Of course, you need to earn. I'm not denying that. And you must negotiate and get your right salary, what you kind of, are deserving of. But till that time, why don't you pick up a particular role and volunteer for that? And there are a lot of organizations today, they do offer roles on voluntary basis. Now, what that gives you is an exposure into a very different kind of an industry, different kind of a role, and a learning, which is, otherwise you wouldn't have had. And 3 months of volunteering will tell you whether you like it or not. And if you like it and if you're good at it, maybe that will, get converted into a permanent role. If the employers are happy about you, they may, offer you a permanent role. If nothing, you have 3 months to call as experience now. You no longer are in career break. Correct? You will walk out with 3 months of experience, and that can be showcased on your CV, and you can apply for your next job with that experience. Even if that doesn't work, at least you're better off because you understand that this is not a role for me. This is not the kind of an organization that I want to go to, because these are the challenges, these are my limitations. So you have, erased out, a certain set of roles that you would wish to apply for. That is exactly how I got into the startup, the one that I was talking about, because I went and volunteered for them. I was, a moderator at the Design Thinking Summit, so I really understood the work that they do. And hence, I knew that this organization will work like this. It's going to be one table and 10 people. I knew exactly that. And that table used to become lunch table at lunchtime and go back to become a work table, after that. So I knew all of this. So I was kind of prepared, that, okay, if I go and work there, this is something that I have to be able to deal with. So that's what volunteering gives you. What's the worst? If you don't volunteer, if you still want to continue to earn, of course, the internship is a good option, but I'm saying if you are going to only apply for jobs which are going to pay you, or you're very going to be finicky about this is the kind of a company, this is the salary I should get, this is the role I should get, because all my peers are, far away, and I want to kind of get to that level only when I restart, you're only wasting time. So your 6 months has gone by, you've not got a job, you've not made any money, right? Instead, at least if you volunteered, you've got 6 months of experience on your CV. Which is so much better than not having a job and still being called as a woman on a career break. There are plenty of internship opportunities also. They're called returnships for women on a career break. So companies may not hire you directly, but they will give you a 6-month returnship or whatever that period is, wherein they will give you live projects to work on, exactly like an internship, but you will have someone to teach you, buddy with you, and at the end of the 6 months, they will evaluate. If they find you good enough, they will offer you, permanent employment. Otherwise, that 6 months of, learning can, take you to another company. Now is the best time because there are no overhead costs for the companies. Otherwise, when they have to hire women, they will think, okay, if this job is, late hours, then, we have to provide for transport for this woman, to kind of go back at 8 o'clock in the night. So that's an overhead for the company, and they will think, okay, should I hire a woman or not? But now there is no overhead. You're working from home. So in fact, you're better off because you can work at 8, at 9, at 10, or whatever, time that is. So it is a good time for you to, look at restarting. There are no location constraints, so you don't have to look at only Bangalore-based or Chennai-based jobs. You can actually look at, jobs which are outside of where you actually, are living. Because I think the arena has opened up for more and more work to be done remotely. Even those mindsets have changed from the companies. Of course, you can explore different organizations and different roles, and I will tell you why. Because the future of work is gig. If you've not heard of this word gig, organization structures in the past used to be mostly of permanent hires, right? Permanent employees. So you actually sign up and you say, okay, fine, this is the salary, these are the variables that you're going to get, and this is the PF and all of that, and you're on their rolls till you actually put down your resignation. So you're a permanent employee. And there used to be a small portion who used to be on contract. These would be probably some projects which are 6 months based, so they will get some, say, developers or somebody on contract, and they would exit after that. But today, the organization structures are changing also because of the pandemic with so much of uncertainty to have a very lean employment base. So, those employees who are, given this kind of employment are very, very minuscule. And most of the jobs are being offered on contract and they are gig kind of. So what is a gig? You pick up a particular project, a particular role, you do it for a few months, you finish it off, and then you move on to, either another project in the company or into another gig that you're going to take. At the same time, you could be doing 2 gigs. So I might be doing a gig for, XYZ company, and I might be doing another gig for, ABC at the same time. As long as you're able to deliver both the projects and, you're not kind of, compromising on anything from your side, delivering it the way both the companies want, you can do 2 different gigs. And the 2 gigs could be very, very different. Of course, there should not be any conflict of interest between those 2 projects. But one could be that, you are a tech person, and the second could be you really love to write content. So you could be doing content writing as one gig, and the other could be tech. So that's the kind of opportunity that is being presented today. And hence you could explore different organizations, different varied kinds of roles when you are restarting. And of course, the last is that you can be your own boss. You could freelance, you could consult. So you really, have no boundaries of, reporting into someone except for the fact that you're going to deliver the piece of work as you've kind of signed the contract. Or you could start up on your own, start up something small on your own and be your own boss. And hence, now is the best time for anyone to start or to restart or to, explore other kinds of opportunities. So in saying that, I would say thank you. And I hope this was useful and meaningful. And I'm happy to take questions, but I would love to remain connected with you all on LinkedIn. Do send me a message saying that you heard me at this conference today, so I know who you are, and I will definitely accept your invite. I now hand it over to Tasneem for any questions that I may need to, answer.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful session. It was really so enthusiastic and so energetic, powerful session, I should say. Ma'am, we are having a couple of appreciation in the chat box.
Thanks.
And by this time, please, I'm requesting all the participants, the floor is open for you. You may unmute your microphone and you can ask your question, or if you want to interact directly with our honorable speaker, then you are really welcome to do that. And also you can also write your question and queries in the chat box, so we will read that, and our speaker will try to give the answer in brief as much as possible.
Sure.
And ma'am, thank you so much once again for your wonderful session. So ma'am, actually we are having a couple of questions. Okay, then
Sure.
let me ask my question later on. At first, let's take the question from the chat box.
Sure.
So Bibhuti Dahia asked, can you please share the small incident that you experienced when you decided to go back to the workforce?
So, actually, I have not taken a break per se, if you look at it. So, 25 years non-stop corporate career. I took 10 months off when my daughter was born, but I was still employed in the organization. So, it was just that I got 10 months leave, after which I quit from the corporate in 2017, September. So, and then I went on with this consulting, I told you, right, at the startup in November. So, probably 1 month. But I will tell you how I managed that transition. Maybe that's an interesting story. I had not really thought of taking up, quitting the corporate. So I'm not going to be very, say that, hey, I got tired of the corporate. That was not the way I quit. In the month of May 2017, my mother, so we realized that she was going through some health issues and she had to undergo a surgery. And I was in this role which had a lot of travel. I used to be always out of Bangalore, where I live. And I didn't know what the surgery was going to, and then how she was going to recover. And I'm the only child, and my father is no more, so I needed to care for her. So I told my organization that I'm going to take 6 weeks off, because after the surgery, she had to be on 6 weeks leave. So I told her to come and stay with me, and came out of the project. And I said, the next role that I pick up, I do not want to do any travel. Okay, I want to be, in Bangalore, which was a very career limiting move because, I worked at a services company where any project is, spread across at least 3 locations. It will be Chennai, Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore. So, and at the position that I was at as a director of delivery, I couldn't have, found a project which was like that. But I was very clear that I don't want to travel. So I took 6 weeks off. But what I did was, while I told my mother, who came and stayed with me, mothers are like that. They won't want to come and stay with you, because if I was living with my in-laws. So I told her, I will take this 6 weeks off and I'll be at home. So you don't have to worry. I ensured that I stepped out of the house every day for a couple of hours. Okay. Ensuring that, she was taken care of for those 2 hours. And I went to volunteer. So I went to volunteer jobs for her. I was volunteering at the startup that I told you. But I also went about meeting a lot of people, because in my head, I was thinking, something told me, maybe the sixth sense or intuition, that if I do not want to continue in the corporate, then what do I do? right? If at all I don't get a project which has no travel, then I may quit. That was what it was in my mind. So let me start meeting people. And who are these people that I was meeting? I was meeting unknown people. I was meeting people whom I had connected over LinkedIn. I had met at some event and we had exchanged numbers. And I was telling them, I would just like to have a chat with you. And people were so happy to come and meet me. And of course, those days we used to go to cafes in Bangalore. Today, I think the opportunity is even better because you just have to do a Zoom or a WebEx and meet with them. I was trying to get ideas from them in terms of what else could I do? Could I collaborate with them and all of that? 6 weeks later, my mother went back to her house. My husband fell extremely ill. He had a severe viral and he just could not sit up also. So I extended my leave because, I had to continue caring for him. And once he recovered, my father-in-law fell very ill. My father-in-law was 96. And in a few days, he passed away, my father-in-law. So then you have the rituals after that for 2-3 weeks, right? So my 6 weeks leave became 3 months. And after that, I was even more sure that I'm not going to pick a role on travel. And my organization said, we cannot continue your leave. So you have to come back and take any project that comes by. So I quit. So that's how I quit. But you know what had happened in those 3 months, except for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks after my father-in-law passed away, even when my husband was unwell, I used to step out every day for a couple of hours to meet people and volunteer. That enabled me to get my next assignment because one, I was talking to people and I had gotten ideas in terms of how I could collaborate. But the same organizations that I volunteered for offered me an opportunity. So the startup offered me an opportunity. And I had signed up a 6-month, contract with them in November. In December, Neha Bagaria, the founder of Jobs for Her, was talking to me saying that she's going to start a not-for-profit foundation and will I come and head that? And I asked her, why are you asking me? Because I don't have any NGO experience, right? It's a new NGO you're starting. I as a person don't have an NGO experience. And she said, I saw you when you came and volunteered at our company. And of course, I could see the passion that you have, but the way you work with the team and the way you engage with the stakeholders, I know that you will figure out how to run an NGO. I need you in that role. So I had to actually wind up my consulting assignment with the startup much earlier than I had thought of. And I went on to head the not-for-profit foundation. And whoever I met during that 1 or 2 months, everybody offered me a collaboration. Right? So that's what I want to tell, as an answer to that person, that the time is now and keep moving. Even if it's a small thing, 1 inch, you are able to move, but do not, make it a full break. Whatever little bit you can do. So even though I'm saying that women who have taken a break are not upskilled or they are not, well versed with the industry trends, what I would like to say is keep in touch, even if you're on a break. Keep in touch, with the industry. Every day, spend a little bit of time in meeting people, talking to someone, reading up, learning. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, ma'am, we are having some more questions, but I guess our next speaker is already with us. So we'll take all the questions offline. And
sure. I'm happy, as I said, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I also mentor a lot of people. So I'll be happy, to kind of see how I can extend any help.
Thank you so much. Now, let's please accept a token of memento for being present as our speaker guest today. Let me share.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The session was wonderful. Within an hour, you have covered a lot of things. And really, thank you so much for joining us today. So, as a token of gratitude, we would like to present you this memento, ma'am. So, currently, our moderator, Tashmin ma'am, will be sharing it.
Thank you so much. That looks so beautiful. I'm honored. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, another request.